Greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. Hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good weekend. I've had a busy weekend I was going to have a relaxing weekend, but it didn't turn out to be a relaxing weekend. But everything seems to be okay now. So we're going to start off this week with an album ranking, and we're going to remember we looked at the members of Rolling Stones and their solo stuff. It gave me an idea. Why not do another band? And we're going to do Pink Floyd. And we thought we'd start off with one of the pioneers of the band, and that is the one and only Mr. Syd Barrett. Roger Keith Syd Barrett, born 1946 in January and sadly passed away in 2006. He was a co-founder of the band Pink Floyd, and he is known for his songwriting and his whimsical style of psychedelia. He obviously was on the debut album and portions of the second album, but he had his issues. Did Syd, and he left the band. But what he did do is make a couple of albums and recorded at the age with 3 other members of Pink Floyd, which was pretty cool. So, the people he worked with was Roger, Dave, and Richard. So, in 1972, Syd Barrett left the music industry and retired from public life. And obviously, Pink Floyd dedicated "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" about him. In 1996, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll fame with Pink Floyd as a member, and he died of cancer in 2006. But he left us with 2 albums, so we'll have a look at them. So coming in at number 2, his debut album, and it's called The Madcap Laughs. Now, it was recorded in 1968. There was other sessions done in 69. And playing on here is Syd Barrett on acoustic and electric guitars and vocals, David Gilmour on bass, 12-string acoustic and drums on one track, Jerry Shirley on drums, Willie Wilson on drums, Robert Wyatt on drums as well, he drums on it, Hugh Hopper on bass, and Mike Ratledge on keyboards. The first track on this one is called Terrapin, and this was recorded in 1969 with some overdubs added as well. I think this just sums up Syd. It is just a typical Syd song. It's a nice gentle song, excellent little track. I do like this track, always have. Then we have No Good Trying. The psychedelia comes in this one lovely. Lots of that sort of early Pink Floyd sound. Wonderful to hear Robert Wyatt drumming on this. Shame he lost his talent as a drummer due to his accident, but he plays so well on this track. It's an excellent track. Love You comes next. This is a little bit disjointed. It seems to be all over the place. It feels unfinished in my books. No Man's Land, some nice guitar work on here. It's very gentle. That's pretty good. I don't mind that one. Dark Globe, again, it's a nice solid track, nice gentleness on it. Then we have my favourite track on there. It's called Here I Go. I just love this. The lyric is wonderful, Syd. It reminds me of like an Arnold Lane sort of thing. The story is bizarre, but it's just a real fun track. Then we have Octopus, which features David Gilmour on the drums. It's okay. It's not the best track. It does feel a little bit unfinished in places. Golden Hair is the next track. This is a remake, and it still doesn't sound right. This is take 11, so God knows what take 1 would have sounded like, but it does still feel unfinished. Long Gone, it's all right. I think this could have been a great song, but it just lacks something. It just seems to meander. It's unfinished to me. Feel, that's okay. It's got some nice guitar work on there. If It's In You, this sounds like it's just recorded for the sake of it. I don't know, the Syd singing was a little bit woeful on this. It's a shame. Just a shame. Late Night, very disjointed. It seems like it's like 3 or 4 ideas popped together. You got bored with an idea, stopped and started something else. It doesn't listen well, I'm afraid. Okay, the first 4 or 5 songs on here are pretty good. I love them. But the rest of the album does fall apart a bit, which is a shame because there's some really nice songs on here. And I think if they'd have got them done properly, they'd have been much better. But I'm going to still give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. So number 1 is the second and final album. Barrett started work on it in 1970. Syd's on here, Dave Gilmour's on here, Richard Wright's on here. Roger does some of the producing on here, and he does take part in a couple of bits. We've got Tuba by Vic Saywell, Jerry Shirley on drums as well, John Willie Wilson on drums. So the first track, it's called Baby Lemonade. It's a really nice song, very pastiche. It's a great vocal from Syd, absolutely really good. I like that. Then we have Love Song. I love this track. I love the harmonium. It's being played by Richard Wright, and it adds to the track. Gives it a little bit more depth. Dominoes. Brilliant, this is. What an idea to bring Richard Wright in. He really does add to this album. Gives it a little bit more stability and a little bit more depth. It's a really nice track. It Is Obvious, another really good track, and I'll put this down to the great vocal from Syd and the wonderful keyboard work from Richard. Then we have Rats. Now this is just a demo. It's a little bit disjointed. Maisie. Now this is a funny old track. It's a bit bluesy, a bit weird, and I think Syd's trying to do an impression of Mick Jagger in places, which is quite fun. Then we have Gigolo Aunt, my favourite track on here. Roger sort of produces this. It's really good. They've got them wonderful elements of Pink Floyd. Really good track. I do like that. Waving Your Arms in the Air, I Never Lied to You. Done in 2 parts. February it was recorded of 1970, and they put some new vocal tracks on April the 2nd, and it is an interesting track. Dread to think what the original track vocal was like, but this is a pretty good version of it. Wined and Dined, really good track, very mellow again. Wolfpack, a very good little track. I love the arrangement on this. It's got some nice organ on it. Then we have Effervescing Elephant, the worst track on the album. Sounds like Wailing Cats. I don't know if they were on drugs or drunk, but it doesn't sound very nice. I think this album's got a lot more structure to it. I think adding Richard Wright was fantastic. He gelled it. And I'm glad that this is the last thing that he recorded, and it does have a more sort of what Syd was all about. I really like this album, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay, look out for later on where we'll be looking at the other members of Pink Floyd and their solo career. Coming up next is the very last classic album. For probably will be the last classic album. We've had this running now, since the beginning, really. We're retiring it, and we're going to replace it with something else next week, which you'll know more about during the week. And we're going to look at Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, which Mojo voted their #1 song on the Motown label. Will I agree with it? Who knows? So join me for that later. Bye for now.